So hey guys, welcome to my channel. I am Santosh and here in my channel I discuss topics from physics and mathematics. As usual, today I am here with one more new video for you guys, and this is the part 4 of the video series on trigonometric functions. Guys, in the part 3 we discussed about trigonometric ratios and trigonometric functions, where we studied about the definitions of these functions and also some important relations between them. In this part we will continue our discussion further and study the following points. Guys, in the first part of this video, we will study about the signs of these trigonometric functions in different quadrants. And in the second part, we will study about domain and ranges of these functions. And finally, we will end our discussion by plotting the graphs of these trigonometric functions. But before starting the discussion, I request you guys to watch the video until the very end. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also share this video with your friends. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon so that you will always be notified whenever I drop a new video. So guys, let's get started. Guys, let us begin our discussion with this simple diagram which gave us the definition of sine and cosine functions. Here we have set of two mutually perpendicular axes which are x and y axis, and we also have a unit circle which is placed inside these axes. For a moment, let us forget about the unit circle. Now we only have x and y axis. If you observe, these x and y axis will divide the plane into four different parts, and these four parts are known as four quadrants. The region between the positive x axis and the positive y axis is known as first quadrant, and the region between the negative x axis and the positive y axis is known as second quadrant. Similarly, the region between a negative x-axis and the negative y-axis is known as third quadrant, and finally fourth quadrant is the region between positive x-axis and the negative y-axis. Continuing from here, if I choose a point in the first quadrant, both of its coordinate will be positive, which is x coordinate and y coordinate will be positive for a point if it is present in the first quadrant. Similarly, for a point which is present in the second quadrant, the x coordinate will be negative and the y coordinate will be positive. In the same way, if the point is present in the third quadrant, both of its coordinates will be negative. And finally, if the point is present in the fourth quadrant, its x coordinate will be positive and y coordinate will be negative. Now coming back to our original diagram, where we had unit circle inside the coordinate axis. Now I will choose a point on this unit circle and name it as P. And let a comma b be the coordinates of these point P. Now what I will do, I will join the points O and P. And now if you observe here, the line segment OP makes an angle x with the horizontal, that is x axis. In other words, I can say that for every angle that OP makes with the horizontal, we will get a point on the circle, and that point will give us two coordinates a comma b. From the definitions of sine and cosine functions, we know that the x coordinate of point P is the cos of angle x. Similarly, the y coordinate of that point P is sine of that angle x. Guys, observe here, if I increase the value of x, the point P will shift from first quadrant to second quadrant. If I increase it more, it will shift to third quadrant. If I increase it furthermore, it will shift to fourth quadrant. An important point to note here is, whenever point P shifts from one quadrant to another quadrant, the signs of its coordinates will change, which means cos x and sin x will have different signs in different quadrants. So now let us look at the signs of these trigonometric functions in different quadrants. Guys, let us start with the first quadrant. In the first quadrant, the value of angle x lies between 0 radian and pi by 2 radian, and the point P will have both of its coordinates as positive numbers. A is also positive number and B is also positive number. Now let us check the signs of these six trigonometric functions for the first quadrant. Now from the definition, sin x is basically the y coordinate, that is B. Sin x is B, so sin x in first quadrant will be positive. Similarly, cos x is the x coordinate, so cos x will also have positive sign in the first quadrant. What about tan x? Tan x is given by sin x by cos x, which is a by b. Since A is also positive and B is also positive, tan x will also be positive in the first quadrant. What about cot x? Cot x is basically 1 by tan x or cos x by sin x. Here cot x will also be positive because both B and A are positive numbers. What about sec x? Sec x is given by 1 by cos x, which is 1 by A in this case. So sec x will also be positive. Finally cosec x. Cosec x is 1 by sin x, which is 1 by B. Since B is positive, cosec x will also be positive. So in the first quadrant, all the 6 trigonometric functions will have positive sign. Guys, now in the second quadrant, where the value of x lies between pi by 2 and pi, the x coordinate of point P will be negative number and the y coordinate of point P will be positive number. So in this case, sin x, which is given as y coordinate, will also have positive sign. And cos x, which is equal to A, will have negative sign. What about tan x? Tan x is sin x by cos x, which is A by B. Here A has negative sign and B has positive sign. So overall tan x will have negative sign. Similarly cot x, which is given by cos x by sin x, B by A. Here B has positive sign and A has negative signs. So on the whole, cot x will also have negative sign. So sec x is 1 by cos x. Here A has negative sign, so sec x will also have negative sign. What about cosec x, which is given by 1 by B? Here B is positive number, so cosec x will be positive in the second quadrant. So if you look here in the second quadrant, sin x, cosec x are positive and rest all are negative. Guys, in the third quadrant, where the value of x lies between pi and 3 pi by 2, both the coordinates of the point P will be negative. That is, A is also negative number, B is also negative number, which means sin x, which is given by B, is negative number. Similarly, the sign of cos x will also be negative because A is negative. What about tan x? Tan x is given by sin x by cos x, which is A by B. Here both are negative. The tan will be positive number. Similarly, cot x, which is given by B by A, will also be positive because both A and B here are negative numbers. Sec x, which is given by 1 by A. Here A is negative, so sec x will also be negative. What about cosec x? Cosec x is 1 by sin x, which is 1 by B. Since B is negative here, cosec x will also be negative in the third quadrant. So in the third quadrant, sin, cos, sec, cosec are negative and tan and cot are positive in the third quadrant. Guys, finally in the fourth quadrant, we have the value of x which lies between 3 pi by 2 and 2 pi. And the x coordinate of point P here will be positive and the y coordinate will be negative. Which means sin x, which is equal to B, will be negative. And cos x, which is equal to A, will be positive. What about tan x? Tan x is A by B, which is sin x by cos x. Here sin is A is positive and B is negative. So overall sin of tan x will be negative. What about cot x? Cot x is given by B by A. Here B is negative and A is positive. It means cot x will be negative. Sec x, which is 1 by cos x. Here A is positive, so sec x will also be positive. And finally cosec x, which is given by 1 by B, where B is negative here, so cosec x will also be negative. So in the fourth quadrant, sin, cosec, tan, cot are negative and cos x and sec x are positive. Guys, everything that we have discussed regarding the signs of the trigonometric functions can be summarized using this table. Guys, now in the second part of this video, let us discuss about the domains and ranges of these trigonometric functions. Guys, let us start with sin x. The domain of sin x is set of all the values that I can fill in the place of x for which the function sin x is defined. I'll say it again. Domain is set of all the values that I can fill in the place of x for which the function sin x is defined. If you observe in this diagram, sin x is defined for all the real values of x. Sin x is defined for all the real values of x, which means the domain of sin x is set of all real numbers. The domain of sin x is set of all real numbers, which is set of all x's such that x belongs to real number. What about range? Range is basically set of all the values that sin x takes. Range is set of all the values that sin x takes. If you observe this diagram, sin x, the value of sin x varies from 0 to 1 in the first quadrant, and it again varies from 1 to 0 in the second quadrant. In the third quadrant, it varies from 0 to -1, and in the fourth quadrant, it varies from -1 to 0. So basically, the sin x takes the values between -1 to 1. The lowest value that sin x can take is -1, and the highest value that sin x takes is +1. So the range of sin x is -1 to 1, closed interval -1 to 1. Guys, next we have cos x. Just like sin x, cos x is also defined for all the real values of x, which means the domain of cos x is set of all real numbers. The domain is set of all real numbers. What about range? Range is set of all the values that cos x takes. If you look at this diagram, the value of cos x varies from 1 to 0 in the first quadrant, and 0 to -1 in the second quadrant, and -1 to 0 in the third quadrant, and 0 to 1 in the fourth quadrant. So basically, the cos x will take values from -1 to 1. So just like sin x, the range of cos x is also closed interval -1 to 1. So the lowest value that cos x takes is -1, and the highest value that cos x takes is +1. Guys, next we have cosec x. Guys, the function cosec x is defined as 1 by sin x. So the domain of cosec x is set of all the values of x for which the function 1 by sin x is defined. The domain is set of all the values of x for which the function 1 by sin x is defined. And guys, from our previous discussions, we know that sin x is 0 whenever the value of x is integral multiple of pi. In other words, sin n pi is always 0. So if the value of x is n pi or integral multiple of pi, then the function 1 by sin x is not defined, because we will get sin x as 0. So cosec x in that case will be 1 by 0, which is not defined. So the domain of cosec x is set of all the real values except integral multiples of pi. So the domain of cosec x is set of all the real numbers where x belongs to real number, and x should not be equal to n pi where n is integer. So this is the domain of cosec x. Guys, what about range of cosec x? To find the range of cosec x, let us make use of this simple diagram, which is the graph of cosec x versus sin x. Here sin x is taken on x axis and cosec x is taken on y axis. We know that the value of sin x varies from -1 to 1. And if the value of sin x is -1, then the value of cosec x is -1. So if you put -1 here, you will get cosec x as -1. If I increase the value of sin x from -1, then the value of cosec x will become more negative. So if the value of sin x is very close to 0, in that case the value of cosec x will be large negative number. So the value of cosec x varies from -1 to very large negative number. Similarly, on this side, when the value of sin x is 1, the value of cosec x is 1. If I decrease the value of sin x, let's say towards 0.5, 0.01 or like that, then the value of cosec x will be a large positive number. So if I decrease the value of sin x and if I come towards 0, the value of cosec x will be large positive number. In fact, if I put the value of sin x as 0, then at that point the cosec x is not defined. So which means the value approaches positive infinity from this side and the value approaches negative infinity from this side. So what is the range then? So range of cosec x is from -1 to -infinity, from +1 to +infinity. And if you observe here, cosec x will not take any value between -1 to 1. So the range is set of all the y where y belongs to a real number and y here is greater than or equal to 1 or y is less than or equal to -1. So this is the range of cosec x. Guys, next we have sec x. The function sec x is defined as 1 by cos x. The function sec x is defined as 1 by cos x. So the domain of sec x is basically set of all the values of x for which the function 1 by cos x is defined. So the domain is set of all the values of x for which the function 1 by cos x is defined. Guys, from our previous discussions, we know that cos x is 0 whenever the value of x is odd integral multiple of pi by 2. Or in other words, cos 2n plus 1 pi by 2 is always 0. Which means if the value of x is odd integral multiple of pi by 2, then the function sec x is not defined. Why? In that case, cos x will be 0. The sec x, which is equal to 1 by cos x, will be equal to 1 by 0, which is not defined. So the domain of function sec x is set of all the real values except where the value of x is 2n plus 1 pi by 2. So the domain is x, set of all x's where x belongs to real number, and x should not be equal to 2n plus 1 pi by 2, which is odd integral multiple of pi by 2, and n belongs to integers. Guys, what about range of sec x? To find range of sec x, we will make use of this diagram again as we did in the case of cosec x. Here we have graph of sec x versus cos x. Cos x is taken on x axis and sec x is taken on y axis. Now we know that the value of cos x varies from minus 1 to 1. For the value of cos x minus 1, the value of sec x is minus 1. If I decrease the value of cos x, the value of sec x becomes more negative. If I approach 0 from this side, the sec x will approach negative infinity. Similarly, for value of cos x which is equal to 1, the value of sec x in that case will be 1. If I decrease the value of cos x, then the value of sec x will increase. If I approach 0 from this side, and it will approach the infinity, which means the value of sec x varies from minus 1 to minus infinity, plus 1 to plus infinity. So if you observe again here, the sec x will not take any value between minus 1 to 1, which means the range of sec x is set of all the y where y belongs to real number and y is greater than or equal to 1 or y is less than or equal to minus 1. Guys, next we have tan x. The function tan x is defined as sin x by cos x. So the domain of tan x is set of all the values of x for which the function sin x by cos x is defined. See, the function sin x by cos x is defined for all the real values of x except where the value of x is equal to odd integral multiple of pi by 2. That is, if the value of x is equal to 2n plus 1 pi by 2, that is odd integral multiple of pi by 2, then cos x will be 0. In that case, the function tan x is not defined. So the domain of tan x is set of all the real values and where x is not equal to 2n plus 1 pi by 2, where n belongs to integer. What about range? Range is set of all the values that tan x takes. If you observe this diagram, the value of tan x varies from 0 to infinity in the first quadrant, because in the first quadrant sin 0 is 0 and cos 0 is 1. So tan 0 is 0, whereas tan pi by 2 is not defined, that is infinite. So it varies from 0 to infinity. In the same way, in the fourth quadrant, the tan x varies from minus infinity to 0. So it covers all the real values. So the range of tan x is set of all the real numbers. Guys, finally we have cot x. The function cot x is defined as cos x divided by sin x. So the domain of cot x is basically the set of all the values of x for which the function cos x by sin x is defined. If you observe here, cos x by sin x is defined for all the real values of x except where the value of x is equal to n pi. If the value of x is equal to n pi, in that case the function sin x is 0, which means the cot x is not defined where the value of x is not where the value of x is equal to n pi, which means the domain of cot x is set of all the values where x belongs to a real number and x should not be equal to n pi where n belongs to integer. So except for these values, the function cot x is defined for all the real values. That is the domain of cot x. What about range? To understand the range of cot x, that is the values that cot x takes, look at this diagram. Here in the first quadrant, the value of cot x varies from infinity to 0. That varies from infinity to 0. And in the third quadrant, it varies from minus infinity to 0. So it covers, basically it covers all the real values. So the domain of cot x is set of all the y where I belong to real numbers. So the range is set of all the real numbers. Guys, now in the third part of this video, let us plot the graph of these trigonometric functions. Let us begin with the first function, that is y is equal to sin x. Now to plot the graph of this function, we need to understand how this function behaves in different quadrants. For that, let us consider this figure here. So this figure we have used for defining the functions sin and cos x. In this figure, for every angle x, we will get a point P on the unit circle. And that point P will have two coordinates, x and y coordinate. The x coordinate is the cos of this angle x and y coordinate is the sine of this angle x. Now in the first quadrant, if you observe here, the value of x varies from 0 radian to pi by 2 radian. Now at x is equal to 0, the value of sine is 0, which means sine 0 is 0. And at x is equal to pi by 2, the value of sine is 1, which means sine pi by 2 is equal to 1. Now in the first quadrant, the value of sine x varies from 0 to 1. It increases from 0 to 1. Similarly, in the second quadrant, the value of x varies from pi by 2 to pi. The value of x varies from pi by 2 to pi. And the value of sine pi is 0. Again, the value of sine pi is 0 and sine pi by 2 is 1. So in the second quadrant, the sine x decreases from 1 to 0. The value of sine x decreases from 1 to 0. Now in the third quadrant, where the value of x varies from pi to 3 pi by 2. In the third quadrant, the value of x varies from pi to 3 pi by 2. And here the value of sine x decreases from 0 to minus 1. Sine 3 pi by 2 is minus 1. Similarly, in the fourth quadrant, where the value of x varies from 3 pi by 2 to 0, 3 pi by 2 to 2 pi, the value of sine x varies from minus 1 to 0. Here it increases from minus 1 to 0. If I summarize everything, in the first quadrant it increases from 0 to 1. In the second quadrant it decreases from 1 to 0. In the third quadrant it again decreases from 0 to minus 1. And in the fourth quadrant it increases from minus 1 to 0. Similarly, for angles which are greater than 2 pi, we can continue the same procedure and find the behavior of sin x. And for the angles which are less than 0, that is for negative angles, we can use the same procedure as well. Now using this information, we can plot the graph of sin x, and it looks something like this. Guys, next let us look at the graph of function y is equal to cos x. Here also first we will study the behavior of cos x in different quadrants and then plot the graph. Here cos x is the x coordinate of this point P here. For every angle x, you will get the point P on the unit circle, and the x coordinate of that point P is cos x. Now in the first quadrant, the value of x varies from 0 to pi by 2. At x is equal to 0, cos 0 is 1. At x is equal to 0, cos 0 is 1. Similarly, at x is equal to pi by 2, cos pi by 2 is 0. So in the first quadrant, the function cos x varies from 1 to 0. It means it decreases from 1 to 0. And in the second quadrant, the cos pi by 2 is 0. The value of x varies from pi by 2 to pi. And cos pi by 2 is 0. And cos pi is minus 1. So here in the second quadrant, the value of cos x decreases from 0 to minus 1. What about third quadrant? In the third quadrant, this value of x varies from pi to 3 pi by 2. So cos pi by 2 is minus 1 and cos 3 pi by 2 is 0. So here in the third quadrant, the value of cos x varies from minus 1 to 0, or it increases from minus 1 to 0. And finally in the fourth quadrant, the value of x varies between 3 pi by 2 and 2 pi. Here the value of cos 3 pi by 2 is 0 and cos 2 pi is again 1. So in the fourth quadrant, the value of cos x again increases from 0 to 1. So if I summarize everything, In the first quadrant, it decreases from 1 to 0, and in the second quadrant, it again decreases from 0 to -1, and in the third quadrant, it increases from -1 to 0, and in the fourth quadrant, it again increases from 0 to 1. So same procedure can be followed for the angles which are greater than 2 pi as well as for angles which are less than 0, that are for negative angles as well. Now using all this information, we can plot the graph of the function cos x. Guys, now let us plot the graph of function cosec x. Guys, the function cosec x is defined as 1 by sin x. And to plot the graph of this function, we again need to understand the behavior of this function in different quadrants. Let us first check the behavior of this function in first quadrant. In first quadrant, the value of angle x varies from 0 to pi by 2. It varies from 0 to pi by 2. At x is equal to 0, sin 0 is 0. Cosec 0 will be 1 by 0, which is not defined. So cosec x is not defined at x is equal to 0. So what do we do then? We will take the value of x as very small positive number, which is very close to 0 but not equal to 0. In that case, the value of sin x will be very small positive number and the value of cosec x will be very large positive number. Why? If you divide 1 by very small positive number, let's say if you divide 1 by 0.00001, you'll get the value of cosec x as very large positive number. Which means if the value of x approaches 0, if the value of x approaches 0, that means if it comes closer to 0, then the value of cosec x will approach infinity or positive infinity. So the value of cosec x is positive infinity near the 0. Now what about cosec pi by 2? Sin pi by 2 is 1, so cosec pi by 2 will also be 1 by 1, which is 1. So in the first quadrant, the value of cosec x decreases from positive infinity to 1. It decreases from positive infinity to 1. Now in the second quadrant, if you check the behavior of this function, anyway we know that cosec pi by 2 is 1. What about cosec pi? At x is equal to pi, again sin x is 0. So cosec x at x is equal to pi is also not defined. So here also the function cosec x is not defined. Again we will use the same procedure, which is check for the value of angle x which is very closer to pi. If I choose angle x which is very closer to pi in the second quadrant, the value of sin x will be very small positive number. In the second quadrant, the value of sin x is always positive number, but if the value of x is very closer to pi, then the value of sin x will be very small positive number. Then the value of cosec x will be very large positive number. So in other words, I can say that it approaches positive infinity if you approach the pi. So in the second quadrant, the value of cosec x increases from 1 to positive infinity. Now in the third quadrant, we know that sin x is always negative. So again I will choose a point which is very close to pi, but this time the value of angle x will be little greater than pi. So the value of x will be little greater than pi. In that case, the value of sin x will be small negative number. In the third quadrant, sin x is negative. So if you divide 1 by very small negative number, you will get the value of cosec x as very large negative number. So here the value of cosec x will be very large negative number. If it approaches pi, the value of cosec x approaches negative infinity. And again at x is equal to 3 pi by 2, the value of cosec x is minus 1. So in the third quadrant, it increases from negative infinity to minus 1. Similarly, in the fourth quadrant, it increases. In the fourth quadrant, at x is equal to 3 pi by 2, the cosec 3 pi by 2 is minus 1. And if you come closer to 2 pi, again the value of sine will be 0. So cosec x will be very large number. Now, in the fourth quadrant, the value of sin x is negative. So if you divide 1 by very small negative number, the value of cosec x will be very large negative number. So again, if the value of x approaches 2 pi from this side, the value of cosec x will approach negative infinity from this side. So in fourth quadrant, it decreases from minus 1 to negative infinity. So if I summarize everything, in the first quadrant, it decreases from positive infinity to 1. It decreases from positive infinity to 1. And in the second quadrant, it increases from 1 to positive infinity. In the third quadrant, it increases from negative infinity to minus 1. And in the fourth quadrant, it decreases from minus 1 to negative infinity. Now using this information, let us plot the graph of cosec x. Guys, next let us plot the graph of function y is equal to sec x. Guys, the function sec x is defined as 1 by cos x. And to plot this graph, we need to again check the behavior of this function in different quadrants. And in the first quadrant, where the value of x varies from 0 to pi by 2, the value of sec 0 is 1. How? Cos 0 is 1, so sec 0 will also be 1. And at x is equal to pi by 2, cos x is 0. So in that case, sec x will be not defined. So sec x will be 1 by 0, which will be not defined. So for that, what we will do, we will check the value of sec x for the angle which is very close to pi by 2, but not equal to pi by 2. If the value of x is very close to pi by 2, in that case, the value of cos x will be very small positive number. Then the value of sec x will be very large positive number. If you divide 1 by very small positive number, you will get the value of sec x as very large positive number. So I can say that in the first quadrant, the value of sec x varies from 1 to very large positive number, so which will be 1 to positive infinity. Similarly, in the second quadrant, if the value of x is very near to pi by 2, then the value of cos x will be very small negative number. Why negative? In the second quadrant, we know that the value of cos x will always be negative number. So here near pi by 2 in the second quadrant, the value of cos x will be very small negative number. So the value of sec x will be very large negative number. And at x is equal to pi, the value of sec is minus 1. Because the value of cos pi is minus 1. So the value of sec pi will be also minus 1. So in the second quadrant, the value of sec x increases from minus infinity to minus 1. Here it increases from minus infinity to minus 1. Now in the third quadrant, we have sec pi is minus 1 and sec 3 pi by 2 is not defined. Sec 3 pi by 2 is not defined because cos 3 pi by 2 is 0 and sec 3 pi by 2 will be 1 by 0. Now for that, again we will choose angle which is very closer to 3 pi by 2 and it is in third quadrant. The angle x which is very close to 3 pi by 2, and in third quadrant the value of cos x will be very small negative number. Here in third quadrant also the value of cos x will always be negative. So it will be very small negative number. So the value of sec x will be very large negative number. In the third quadrant near 3 pi by 2, the value of sec x will be very large negative number. So the behavior of sec x in the third quadrant is it decreases from minus 1 to minus infinity. It decreases from minus 1 to minus infinity. Now in the fourth quadrant, if you choose the value of x which is very closer to 3 pi by 2, the value of cos x will be very small positive number, because in the fourth quadrant the value of cos x is always positive. Now if the value of cos x is very small positive number, then the value of sec x will be very large positive number. So here the value of sec x will be very large positive number, or else I can say it is closer to positive infinity. And at sec 2 pi, at x is equal to 2 pi, sec 2 pi is again 1. So it decreases from positive infinity to 1. So if I summarize everything, in the first quadrant it increases from plus 1 to plus infinity. In the second quadrant it again increases from negative infinity to minus 1. In the third quadrant it decreases from negative 1 to negative infinity, and in the fourth quadrant it again decreases from positive infinity to positive 1. Now using all this information, we can plot the graph of sec x. Guys, now let us plot the graph of function y is equal to tan x. Guys, the function tan x is defined as sin x by cos x. And in the first quadrant, if you observe here, at x is equal to 0, at x is equal to 0, sin 0 is 0, cos 0 is 1. So in that case, tan 0 will be 0. So tan x is 0 when x is equal to 0. At x is equal to pi by 2, at x is equal to pi by 2, sin pi by 2 is 1 and cos pi by 2 is 0. In that case, tan pi by 2 is not defined. But if you choose value which is very closer to pi by 2, the value of tan x will be very large positive number. Why? In that case, cos x will be very small positive number, and if you divide uh, the sin x by very small positive number, you will get a very large positive number. So I can say that tan x approaches positive infinity if we approach pi by 2 in the first quadrant. So in the first quadrant, the behavior of tan x is it increases from 0 to positive infinity. Similarly, in the second quadrant, if the value of x is very close to pi by 2, then the value of cos x will be very small negative number. In that case, the value of tan x will be very large negative number, or else I will say that tan x approaches negative infinity if the value of x approaches pi by 2. And at x is equal to pi, sin pi is 0, cos pi is minus 1. So the value of tan pi is 0. So in the second quadrant, the behavior of tan x is it increases from negative infinity to 0. It increases from negative infinity to 0. Similarly, in the third quadrant, it is 0 at x is equal to pi, and at x is equal to 3 pi by 2, it is not defined. Why? Cos 3 pi by 2 is 0. So tan x is not defined at x is equal to 3 pi by 2. Now, if you choose the value of x very near to 3 pi by 2, in that case the value of cos x will be very small negative number, and the value of sin x is also negative number in third quadrant, which will make the tan x as a positive number, but that number will be very large. Why? Because the value of cos x will be very small, right? So in this case, if the value of x is very close to 3 pi by 2 in the third quadrant, the value of tan x will be very large positive number. So the behavior of tan x in third quadrant is it increases from 0 to very large positive number or towards positive infinity. And in the fourth quadrant, the value of cos x is positive, the value of sin x is negative, but the value of cos x is very near to 0 here. So if it is very near to 0, it will be very small positive number. In that case, the value of tan x overall will be very large negative number, or else I will say tan x tends to negative infinity near this point. And at x is equal to 2 pi, again tan 2 pi will be 0. Why? Sin 2 pi is 0, cos 2 pi is 1. So tan 2 pi is 0. So in the fourth quadrant, it again increases from negative infinity to 0. So overall, the behavior of tan x is, in the first quadrant it increases from 0 to positive infinity, and in the second quadrant it increases from negative infinity to 0, and in the third quadrant it again increases from 0 to positive infinity, and in the fourth quadrant it again increases from negative infinity to 0. So using this information we can plot the graph of tan x. Guys, finally let us plot the graph of cot x. The function cot x is defined as cos x by sin x, and in the first quadrant, if you observe here, at x is equal to 0, cos 0 is 1 and sin 0 is 0. So the cot x is not defined at x is equal to 0 here. So therefore what we will do, we will check for the value of x which is very closer to 0, and the value of x is very small positive number. In that case, the value of sin x will be very small positive number. Here the value of sin x will be very small positive number, and if you divide cos x by very small positive number, here you will get the value of cot x as very large positive number. So here cot x is very large positive number, or we will say it is closer to infinity. And at x is equal to pi by 2, cos pi by 2 is 0 and sin pi by 2 is 1. So the value of cot x is 0. So in the first quadrant, the value of cot x decreases from positive infinity to 0. It decreases from very large positive number to 0. Similarly, in the second quadrant, at x is equal to pi by 2, we have cot x is equal to 0, and at x is equal to pi, cos pi is minus 1 and sin pi is 0. So again cot x is not defined at x is equal to pi. So what we will do, we will check the value of cot x for the angle which is very closer to pi and it is present in the second quadrant. And in the second quadrant the value of cos x is negative and value of sin x is positive. Now near this point the value of sin x will be very small negative number. Here the value of sin x will be very small negative number. So if you divide cos x by very small negative number, you will get the value of cot x as very large negative number, or else you can say that the value of cot x approaches negative infinity here. So in the second quadrant the behavior is it decreases from 0 to negative infinity. And in the third quadrant, if you see here near this region where the value of x is very closer to pi, here the value of sin x will be very small negative number again, and value of cos x will also be negative number. In the third quadrant both cos and sin are negative, so overall cot x will get the positive sign, and cot x will be very large positive number here, since the sin x will be very small negative number and cot x will also be some negative number. So here near this point the value of cot x approaches positive infinity, and at x is equal to 3 pi by 2 the value of cot x is 0. Why? Cos 3 pi by 2 is 0 and sin 3 pi by 2 is minus 1. So in the third quadrant the behavior is it decreases from positive infinity to 0, and in the fourth quadrant cot 3 pi by 2 is 0 and cot 2 pi again, if you see here cos 2 pi is 1 and sin 2 pi is 0, so again it is not defined at x is equal to 2 pi. So for x is equal to, we'll check the value of cot x for the angle x which is very closer to 2 pi but not equal to 2 pi. And in the fourth quadrant we know that cos x is positive and sin x is negative, and near this point the value of sin x will be very small negative number. Here the sin x will be very small negative number, so overall the value of cot x will be very large negative number, and I will say cot x approaches negative infinity here. So the behavior of cot x in the fourth quadrant is it decreases from 0 to negative infinity. Now if I summarize everything, in the first quadrant it decreases from positive infinity to 0, and in the second quadrant it decreases from 0 to negative infinity, and in the third quadrant it decreases from positive infinity to 0, and in the fourth quadrant it again decreases from 0 to negative infinity. Guys, now using this information we can plot the graph of function y is equal to cot x. Guys, with this we come to an end of this video. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next video.